the research that's been done on technology, whether it's gaming or just texting, that there are significant changes in the release of dopamine in the brain. Say a gaming situation example, you blow someone up, you shoot someone, you beat somebody up, you break through another level. When you accomplish that, there's a tremendous release of dopamine in the brain. Dopamine is the pleasure chemical. So imagine you get this big flood of dopamine into the brain, more than you're normally used to. The receptor sites go like, oh my God, that's a lot of dopamine. And so then they close down. So then, in order to turn them back on again, you got to throw out a little bit more dopamine. It's like a spouse that yells at you all the time. They got to yell louder at you the next time because you become desensitized to that point. So receptor sites are the same way. So over time, the pleasure centers in the brain are recalibrating to a higher and higher level, which means in the absence of that stimulation, they can't find pleasure from anything. A sunset, taking your dog for a walk, go seeing your grandmother, boring, they just blew up a nation, right? So then in the absence of that stimulation, you have this removed anhedonia, this kind of loss of interest in the outer environment because they've been robbed of their normal experience of pleasure. So learning, as an example, should be a reward in and of itself, right? Learning is part of the reward mechanism for us. But if you've just gamed for an hour, texted for an hour or whatever and then go to school, and your pleasure centers are up around here, they're kidnapped to a certain degree, then how are you going to turn your brain on? The only way you turn your brain on is to get in trouble, to act out, to do something, so that the arousal of epinephrine and norepinephrine wakes the brain up for the short term. So now you start getting these hyperactive attention disorders because the child is looking for stimulation. So I do think it's a problem, and I think it can be rectified, and I think there's timing with gaming or timing with using your technology. You got to have great rules, like leave your phone in your room, and when we're eating dinner, like I don't bring my cell phone to dinner ever. That's just a rule that I have. Why? Because if everybody's on their phone at dinner, well, what's the use of sitting together and eating? Let's engage one another. And then if you want to get up and check your phone, get up and leave the room and go into the other room and look at it. Do something in nature. Go from a narrow focus to a broad focus. My kids, one's a surfer.
That was always important for you to have your kids spend time in nature, right?
Nature is so important because it's a broad focus, and the brain really recalibrates with an open focus like that. So do something in nature. Set your phone down. It's going to be there when you get back. Do your homework first. Do all your chores. Get all of that out of the way, and your self-esteem is returning. You're less interested in gaming when you complete everything that feels good. You just want to sit down and just enjoy the moment. It's when you're resisting doing something that you're distracting yourself from the things you need to do, right? So the problem is, long term for me, is take that child now as an adult who's been doing that for 10 years, and they're facing challenging situations in their life where they really have to move through some adversity. Are they going to move through that adversity, or are they going to distract themselves and rely on something outside of them to change how they feel inside of them? And the moment you notice a change inside of you and you feel better, you pay attention to what caused it, the conditioning process starts and you become dependent on it. So I think it's important to teach children some of these things, and we talk about this in our teen workshops. And the kids laugh in the beginning, but then they start really getting it, and they really, some of them really are sensible enough to say, I don't want to do that to myself. And then we have someone else come out in the afternoon, another kid who tells great stories. The kid's been in my work since he was this big, and he's 19 years old, and you can't tell if he's 19 or 35. He's just an amazing kid, and he's created so many wonderful things in his life, and he takes his time with them and talks to them, and they relate with him, right? You just need somebody to relate with, and he's cool. And so kids need kids as a bridge. I'm the guy at the lunch break or at the end, they come up to me, and these kids are so cool, and they're like, hey, thanks so much. My mom had cancer, and she did the work every day, and she's cancer-free, so I want to say thank you for helping my mom, or my aunt listens to you, or she drives us to work on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and she listens to you all the time, so we listen to you all the time. We love your content. They're like, 16-year-old kids, like, what, really? You do? Yeah, we really do. So they hear it.
And you're trying to teach them to like not look for those external stimuluses to fix their problems, and it's like to really start having that dialogue with themselves.
Hey, if you learn how to self-regulate, why would you need anything outside of you?
Right.
You can create love.
Is that probably the most important thing, even if you're a child or an adult?
Yeah. I think it's one of the top three. Yeah, because the research shows that when you get really good at opening your heart, it resets the baseline for trauma in your amygdala. Love, it passes right outside the spinal cord, right up a separate tract, right into that amygdala, and it resets the baseline. It just literally goes, chink, just drops down, and there goes the trauma. It's reset again. So that's important because it allows us to heal. It allows us to get back in balance. Love causes flourishing. It causes expansion, it causes growth, right? 1,400 different chemicals released that begin to restore and repair the body. You know that, why wouldn't you want to go, why don't you want to take a chance and go a little further and open your heart?
So default to love. Try to control any of those other emotions that aren't love, minimize them, understand them, and then try to get love back in that equation.
Sure, I mean, look, the easy part is to do it when things are going well. The tough part is doing it when you just don't want to, right? But the word meditation means to become familiar with. If you're trading fear for love, you're surrendering to love every day instead of to fear, and you're self-regulating, and you're sooner or later, those chemicals are going to get easier and easier for you to access, just like fear got easier for you to access. Once you know that, then you know how to do it, right? And so doing it when challenging times are happening means you may not be able to control everything out there, but at least you can control what's going on in here, and that makes your tolerance for what's going out there to be improved.